Good morning students, myself Dr. K.M. Dadure, Assistant Professor, Bajaj College of Science, Wardha. Today I am going to deliver a topic, Chemistry of Element of Second and Third Transition Series. But before we are going to discuss this second and third transition series, student, we already discussed what is the first transition series element, and in that we have discussed the most of the important parameters of the first transition series element, and we have discussed how the D block element is actually showing the transitions. Okay, and in that we also see a very important exceptional electronic configuration of copper and chromium. Okay, with this we today going to start the second and third transition series elements. So before I going to jump on the second and third transition series element, I would like to compare all these series, and in that series the first, second and third series. So student, you can see I just showing you the extending electronic configuration of the first transition series. This is the second transition series electronic configuration. This is the extending electronic configuration of the third transition series. So here, as far as the length point of view, student, we can very clearly observe that the first transition series is actually short as compared to the second transition series, and second transition series is comparatively short as compared to the third transition series element. It means that the atomic number goes on increasing from first to third, and their nuclear charges also goes on increasing, and on the basis of this we already discussed their physical and chemical parameter is also goes on increasing and decreasing, okay, with exceptional characteristics properties of some selected elements. Okay, but in this first, second and third transition series, what the important thing is that our important main focus is that this d orbitals. Okay, so here you can see, student, in the first series this d is actually get filled up by 1 to 10 4:2. Here in this d 1 to 10 5:2, and in this third series you can see this d 1 to 10 6:2. Okay, so all the changes we can be observed in this d orbital when the electron is start getting filling. Okay, when the electron is start getting filling here and here also. So with this we know that the first transition series is actually the start with the scandium and it is end with the zinc, and we know that the atomic number of the scandium is 21 and the atomic number of the zinc is 13. Then the second transition series, which is a start with yttrium where the atomic number is 39, and cadmium where the atomic number is 48. And third transition series, which is a start with the lanthanum where the atomic number of the lanthanum is 57, which is end with mercury where the atomic number is actually 80. Okay, so in overall this first to third transition series, student, we know that all the 10 electrons are existing. Okay, so with this we start with the electronic configuration, and student, we all know that the electronic configuration is the most important parameters of transition series elements. So here also we will see some very important some exceptional behavior of the electronic configuration of the second and third transition series element. So in that, here we already know that the element is have their outermost as well as the ultimate shell, which is incomplete. Okay, and that incomplete electronic that incomplete outermost shell we will see in the next incoming tables, and they all are basically generally they all, if we see commonly, they all are having the 2 electron in their ns subshell. This is very important, but not all are having the 2 electron in its ns subshell. Some few elements are excluded, and that are molybdenum, rutheniums, rhodiums, palladium, and the silver, platinum and arium. So these are the some selected element where we can see that the ns subshell is not having the 2 electrons. Okay, and basically is actually on the basis of some half filled and completely filled sublevel, and in that we can see the half filled and completely subshells are basically they showing the stability of that particular elements. Okay, and in this way we can see the electronic arrangement and electronic filling is varying. Okay, and on the basis of that variation we observe some half filled and completely filled stability of some particular selected elements. Okay, with this we going to start our second transition series element, and that second transition series element is start with the atrium and it is end with the cadmium. So here we observe some table, and in that table, student, we know that this is a total 10 elements which belongs to second transition series element, and this second transition series element is also known as 4D series also. Okay, and where we focus all the electrons are basically they enter into this 4D orbitals. Okay, so atrium is the atomic number 39, symbol is Y, and here we can see this is the abbreviated electronic configuration. Okay, from 41 5s2. Okay, this is the zirconium, atomic number is 40, zirconium is the symbol Zr, and 42 5s2, it is the outermost shell electronic configuration. This is the neodymium, and 43 5s2. Student, in this case you will observe some of the author is start with the 44. So some of the author is start with 44 electronic configuration and 43 electronic configuration. So don't be confused, because those who have start with the 44 and then after 45, so don't worry, it is basically here also the same thing is going. So here in the 4D orbital we can see that the electron is increased by the one single electron unit, and when in this case when the electron is get increased by one single unit, so this 4D is become 44. Okay, so after becoming the 44, so the adjacent orbital, this 5s2, is actually share its electron towards this 4D, and this 44 is become 45. Okay, and this is actually the anomalies we can see in this orbitals, and this is actually because of due to the nearest energy level of these two orbitals, and we can say the similar energy level of these two orbitals, and that is the reason they are mutually they rearranging their electrons, okay, in between the orbitals to achieving the achieving the stability. Okay, and that is the reason in the molybdenum you can see the electronic configuration is get increased by 5. This is the 45 and this is 5s1. Okay, and then after technetiums, their atomic number is 43. This is the 45 5s2. So 45 is a half-filled electronic configuration, which is the stable one. So in the second case, this will not disrupt, and the incoming electron will enter into this 5s2. Now, after that 45, so student, you can see that in the ruthenium, the 47 and 5s1 is another exceptional electron configuration. So again, the one electron get increase here, so this 45 is become 46, and after become the 46, so one of the electron from this 5s1 is get shared by this 4D orbitals, and this 4D orbital is become 47, and this 5s orbital is become 5s1. So in this way the ruthenium is showing 47 and 5s1 electronic configuration. After that the rhodium, this is the ruthenium, and after that the rhodium is having the electronic configuration 48 5s1. Okay, so incoming electron is get entered into these d orbitals. Then after palladium, in this palladium we can see 4010 5s0. So when the electron is get increased by one single unit, so 48 is become 49. So after this 49, only the one single electron is required to complete its fulfilled orbitals, to fulfill this d orbitals. So in the next case, the one of the electron which is present in the 5s1 is get shared by these d orbitals, and this d orbital is become 4010 and 5s0. Okay, after sharing this one electron, so phi s1, phi s is actually having no electron, and that is the reason in the next incoming electronic configuration of the palladium we showing the 4d10 and phi s0 is the electronic configurations. In the silver and in the cadmium, the same series is continue with the 4d10, 4d10 and 4d10, which is the stable one, and in this way the 4d series or second transition series element is accommodating in the 4d orbitals. Now the next important, and that is the third transition series element. So the third transition series element is start with the lanthanum and it is end with the mercury. And this third transition series element is also called as 5d series. And in this we will see again some exceptional behavior of some exceptional electronic configuration. So in this we can see that the series is a start with the lanthanum and end with the mercury. So here student, you can see the 57 to 72, it is the largest gap, and in between some F-block series elements are separated out, and that is represented differently in the periodic table. And here you can see the lanthanum is the electronic configuration 5d1 6s2. Okay, this is the hafniums where the electronic configuration is 5d2 6s2. Okay, so from 5d, here the main focus is what? The electron is get accommodated in the 5d orbitals, and it accommodated very we can say in the ascending order. So here we can see 5d1 5d2 6s2 5d3 6s2 5d4 6s2 for the tungstens, 5d5 6s2 for the rheniums, 5d6 6s2 for the osmium, and then after 5d7 6s2 for the iridium. Okay, and after this in the platinum student we can see that when the 5d7 is get increased by one single electron unit, so this 5d7 is become the 5d8, and after 5d8 one of the electron is get shared by this 6s orbital, and this 5d8 become 5d9 and 6s1. So therefore the next incoming electron configuration of the platinum is 5d9 6s1, and after that Orium and Mercury is actually achieving the fulfilled electronic configuration, that is the 5d10 and 5d10 and 5d10 6s1 and 5d10 6s2. And in this way the whole third transitions elements are basically get accommodated in this 5d orbitals, and in between they showing some exceptional behavior. Okay, because of due to the similar energy level of these two orbitals, because overall the energy level and energy concept in between these two orbitals are very similar. Okay, nearby similar. Then after we study some comparative study, and in that comparative study we are going to discuss some very important elements where we will see their comparison, in that comparison we will see the chromium, molybdenum and tungsten, and in that the oxidation state is the first parameter which we are going to discuss. So here the student the common oxidation state is basically shown by all these three elements, that is chromium, molybdenum and tungsten is +6. Okay, and this state is basically formed by the loss of electron from this ns and n1d orbitals. Okay, this ns and n1d orbitals. So in this case the chromium is the most stable oxidation state, and that most stable oxidation state is +3. Okay, this most stable oxidation state of the chromium. And in case of this molybdenum and tungsten, the most stable oxidation state is +6, and that is actually due to the lower ionization potential of molybdenum and tungsten. Okay, In this case, we observe that the chromium plus 6 is actually act as an oxidizing agent. When the chromium is having the plus 6 oxidation state, so it act as an oxidizing agent. Okay, and since it has a tendency to accept the 3 electron, and therefore the most stable oxidation state of the chromium, and therefore by giving the most stable chromium 3 plus species, that is the one of the reason. However, the molybdenum 6 plus and this tungsten 6 plus, okay, they are not oxidizing agent. Why they are not oxidizing agent? Due to the high stability of the plus 6 oxidation state. Okay. On the other hand, the molybdenum 3 plus and tungsten 3 plus, molybdenum 3 plus and tungsten 3 plus, they are the strong reducing agent. Okay. So these are the some factors which is associated with the oxidation state, and with this they are showing the some they showing some characteristic properties. Okay. And the most important features of all the 3 elements is their tendency to form the metal carbonate in the zero oxidation state. That is the very important things. Okay. And let's see the some oxidation state of the chromium, molybdenum and tungsten. So student, this is a very simple chart where you can see that the chromium is going to start with the plus 1 and it is end with the plus 6. The last electronic the last oxidation state is plus 6. So here we can see the chromium is showing such a long oxidation chain. In the case of molybdenum, we will see that the molybdenum is having the plus 4 and plus 5 plus 6. Tungsten is plus 4 plus 5 and plus 6. Student, as far as the examination point of view, this comparative study is very important, and in the exam usually this is asked. So please focus on. Now the next is magnetic properties. So as far as the magnetism is concerned, student, we already discussed the number of things regarding to the magnetism and magnetic property, okay, in the previous presentations. So we all know that what is the magnetism, and as far as the magnetism is concerned, the magnetic properties basically due to the spin motion and due to the orbital motions of an electron. Okay, so these are the very important things. So this is actually the factor which is responsible for the magnetism. So there are the many compounds in the second and third transitions element which exhibiting such a magnetic properties. Okay, number of the element is showing the magnetic properties, and which is due to the presence of the unpaired electron in the d orbitals. And student, we all know that the magnetism is the property which is actually the occurs, which is actually the exhibit due to the presence of unpaired electron. So without having the unpaired electron, the magnetism will not produce and will not exhibiting. Okay, so for magnetism, it is must the element should have the unpaired electron in its d orbitals. Okay, and there are the substances which are attracted to the magnetic field. It means that attraction is actually associated with the paramagnetic behavior, and we also know that the repulsion is actually the associated with the diamagnetic behavior. Okay, and that is the reason the paramagnetism is actually the property of unpairedness of electrons. Okay, so here in the chromium, molybdenum, or as well as in the tungsten, they all are having the unpaired electron, and hence when they are having the unpaired electron, so all of them will be the paramagnetic in nature. Okay, and they are basically showing some special characteristic properties of the paramagnetic natures. Okay, but in case of the lower oxidation state also, such elements are basically having the unpaired electron, and so they also showing the paramagnetic behavior in their lower oxidation state also. Okay, but in the plus 6 oxidation state, they do not have the unpaired electron, so they will be not showing the paramagnetic behavior. So definitely they will showing diamagnetic behavior. Okay, so in the complexes also the chromium is showing the spin only magnetic moment, while in the other two elements there are basically the orbital contributions. Okay, so these are some very important characteristics nature as far as the magnetism is concerned with the chromium, molybdenum and tungstens. Okay, so let's start with some more interesting element and their comparative study, in that the cobalt, rhodiums and iridium is the element which is belong to our second and third transition series. So here the cobalt is having the +2 oxidation state, +3 +6. Rhodium is +2 +3 +4 +5 +6, and iridium is +2 +3 +4 +6. Okay, so as far as the oxidation state of this cobalt, rhodium and iridium is concerned, so the important features of these elements is that all of them is showing the +2 oxidation state. Okay, all of them is showing the +2 oxidation state, which is not so common in the other element. So this is the interesting one, which is not so common in the other elements of the second and third transition series. Okay, so that is the reason the maximum oxidation state here we can see that +6. Okay, and apart from this oxidation state, this rhodium and iridium is also showing the +1 oxidation state, and this +1 oxidation state we observe in some very important complex, and that important complex is known by its scientific name, that is the Wilkinson catalyst. Okay, so here in the next slide we can see the oxidation state point of view. They all are having the +2 oxidation state, and maximum is the +6 oxidation state. And as far as the +1 oxidation state, Wilkinson is the catalyst, where we can see the actually the oxidation state of this iridiums and rhodium is +1. Okay, so this is all about the oxidation state point of view, the behavior of this cobalt, rhodium and iridium. Okay, so what about the magnetic properties? Okay, so student, as far as the magnetic nature is concerned, we already discussed number of things. So here in the elemental state, this cobalt is showing the very strong paramagnetic behavior. Okay, very strong paramagnetic behavior, and so they are classified as ferromagnetic. So definitely when they are showing the strong paramagnetic behavior, so they having overall a very magnetic properties. Means after cutting the source, they also actually showing the magnetic properties. That is the meaning of ferromagnetism. And as far as the ferromagnetism is concerned, this is the physical phenomenon, students, in which we can see that the certain electrically uncharged material is strongly attracted the others. Okay, this is actually the concept of ferromagnetism. In another word, if suppose you want to know the ferromagnetism, it is actually the process where the matter is actually exhibiting a spontaneous magnetizations even in the absence of external magnetic field. That is called as ferromagnetism, and that is the reason as far as the cobalt, nature of the cobalt with respect to the paramagnetism, they are very stronger paramagnetic behavior, and that's why they classified into the ferromagnetic substance. Okay, and in this way we can see that the cobalt forms a high spin as well as the low spin complexes, and depending upon the ligand. And students, as far as the high spin and low spin complex is concerned, we know that the high spin and low spin complex is actually the part of strength of the ligand. Okay, and when the ligand is stronger, during that complexation, those ligand is involved in that complexation. Such a complex actually the low spin complex, and when the ligand is weak, such a complex is actually the high spin complex. Okay, so with respect to the high spin and low spin complexes, so cobalt is actually the behaving in a different way. So here when the cobalt is having the 2+ oxidation state, that means D7 is the electronic configuration, so that time it is showing the paramagnetic behavior. And when this cobalt is having the 3+ oxidation state, which is the D6, that can be behaving diamagnetic in nature. Okay, so on that basis, some selected element also showing some exceptional properties. Okay, and that is the reason in the rhodium 3 plus and iridium 3 plus, they show the low spin in the nature, and when they are in the low spin in nature, so definitely the complex will be the diamagnetic. Okay, so this is all about the comparative study of cobalt, rhodiums and iridium. Okay, but before we going to end this second and third transition series element, so students, I just want to summarize this lesson in a very few words. Okay, as far as the first, second and third transition series is concerned. So we know that what is the first transition series, but as far as the second transition series is concerned, the most of the element which is coming in the second transition series are also termed as the heavy metals. Okay, heavy metals, and here we can see that the electronic configuration, which is the start with the yttrium to the cadmium, they are comprises the second transition series, and here we can see that the electron basically filled usually in the 4d orbitals. Okay, and as we move down, there is a rise in the size. Okay, larger size is a start growing from top to the bottom, and it increases from first to the second. Okay, but however, from the second to the third transition series, rise in the size is negligible. That is the very important things. Okay, so this is basically some little the brief history of the second transition series element and third transition series element. Let's see the differences in between the first, second and third transition series. Those we have start with our previous 2-3 presentations. So in the first, second and third transition series, the 3D, 4D and 5D suborbitals are respectively the field. Okay, so this is actually the common thing we observe, and we know that the element in the same vertical column, it means that from the top to the bottom, they generally have similar electronic configuration in some cases. Okay, so in the first transition series, we already discussed some exceptional characteristic behavior, some exceptional electronic behavior of chromium and the copper. Okay, where the electronic configuration is 3d5 and 4s1, and in the copper there is a 3d10 and 4s1, which is the half-filled and completely filled electronic configurations. Okay, similarly there are the exceptions in the second transition series, and in that second transition series we see that in the molybdenum, technetiums, rutheniums, rhodiums, palladiums and silver, so they all are showing the exceptional electronic configuration. In the molybdenum we can see that this 4d5s1, in the technetiums we see that the 4d6s1, in the ruthenium 4d7s1, in the rhodium 4d8s1, in the palladium 4d10s0, in the silver 4d10s1. So there are some exceptions in the 3D transition series as well. Okay, so in the 3D transition series, student, we observe the tungsten, where the electronic configuration is 5d4 6s2, and in the platinum we see that the 5d9 and 6s1, and in the orium the completely filled 5d10 6s1. So in this way we summarize the whole transition series element, in that we see how the first transition series and how the second and third transition series and their anomalous behaviors. So with this, students, thank you very much, and refer the book and read the topic carefully, and if any questions or query, okay, so please ask me. Welcome. Thank you very much, students.